Met at the roller skating rink.
Empire Boulevard.
She was 15, I was
still in
18.
school.
Definite idea that I'm going to lose my virginity.
Everybody's always after the young people. What did the young people want?
Here it is.
One thing, you don't have to look for brains.
She had 13 children, that's a lot of stooping.
This is me with my son Kevin in 1974, when he was 2. This is him with his own child in 2014, when he was 42.
What made my parents that way? Oh, their parents.
I'm wondering how much my friends are thinking about the upcoming end of the days we're all walking through.
I just feel like certainly a sense, an ominous sense of the end.
Oh, I see where we're going. I see where we're going.
The powerful need to know that we come from somewhere and that we're going somewhere.
I'm gonna stay here forever.
Hiya.
Hi, good to see you.
I was looking at your phantom room and I thought, am I seeing my room or his room?
Oh, before I got on?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Just running around last night. Just rushed home on my, kind of taking my lunch here. I work in Red Hook, you know.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, I haven't seen you in like 12 years. A lot has changed. We can talk about it because it's kind of like related to the topic of your film in a way.
Yeah.
But
so, how long have you been in Red Hook?
A few years now. I will be. I'm living just north of it, but I work at WKZE, the radio station.
Do you? That's a great station. I got a number of my songs in the film off WKZE until I discovered that how much they were going to cost.
Yeah.
Naively, you know, I was picking stuff off the internet. Oh, I like this tune. I like that tune. And a lot of them were KZE, and they're very good about, there is a record of the last 20 songs, but then if you lose track, you can call up. They're really wonderful about giving you titles.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Music was a huge headache. I mean, it was really.
Oh, it always is, right? I mean, it's okay if you're talking about festivals, but once you're going to get the film out.
That's right.
Yeah. You got to pay for that, and it's probably pretty hefty, I'm guessing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you haggle with them?
It's very difficult. And I had a music supervisor who does that, but the music business has changed so that, there's no more touring, there are no more records. So all these publishers, they want to make their money off licensing, and they don't distinguish between some big blockbuster film and me with my ruminations about aging and mortality.
That's all I ruminate about myself. It's why this film was so perfect for, as a topic for this podcast, because I think, as my girlfriend will attest, I'm the generation behind you, more or less, and I'm approaching 60, and I'm kind of, it's not just a new thing. I've had a midlife crisis for like 25 years now. So
I made my midlife crisis film. It was called An Acquired Taste.
My problem is I haven't been able to catch up with some of the older films, and I really still want to. So if we can make that happen, I'd be very grateful.
Yeah, I can send you my midlife crisis film.
Okay, that'd be good. I want to see because I was looking it up. We did a screening of Following Sean, and this was after the film had already come out. And he's writing a reminder so he doesn't forget. But I too can remember too. I'll remind you too.
I'm constantly. If I do festival screenings or stuff with Q&As, I'm constantly doing things that actually are thematically appropriate, like writing notes to myself, forgetting my hearing aids, anything that will enforce the notion that this is not this is not bullshit. That I'm actually am aging and have all the frailties that accompany it.
Well, we'll get to that, but I just wanted to do a little kind of house business first, because our screening that we did, and this was probably, what year did Following Sean come out theatrically /
2005.
So yeah, so it was some years later. It was not till November of 2011 when you schlepped down to Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And I think one of your sons was living in Brooklyn, if my memory serves, at the time.
Yes.
And so you were able to kind of piggyback that a visit to him on to it. So, but I remember you very clearly that you had come from the upstate, Hudson Valley, but I moved up here a few years ago, and I was contacted by the Saugerties Film Society, which is a thing, those watching. And we were on a Zoom call with the new Upstate Films guys.
Yes.
And I saw you on there, and I was like, Ralph is on here. And then I was trying to message you, but I don't think you saw the message.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, it was, I was trying to message you through Zoom or whatever it was, and, fruitlessly. And I didn't have your phone number to just text you on that or something, but I wanted to say hello. And I thought that was nice. And now, having seen your film, and actually one of your producers, right? Or I believe one of your producers of the new film, which is called I Like It Here, which is why we're talking today, is one of the original founders of Upstate Films. Is that not right?
Steve Leiber, absolutely, yeah.
Steve Leiber.
And now the Saugerties Film Society, I guess, is subsumed into the Orpheum Theater, which is now Upstate,
Yeah, that's right. So there's a lot. Then this other connections that just happen to be orbiting around you and I is that Jim Brown is an old friend.
Yes.
And I've done many shows over the many years I've been doing this with, having Jim or some of his clients on in the past over the years. So, and Jim, of course, you probably know, graduated Bard.
Yes.
Which is nearby. Now tell me, so I finally know, if you don't mind divulging, or you can tell me this after, but where you're located, because I know we're very close to nearby. I can tell by the film.
Yeah, Tivoli.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So you are just down the street.
Right.
Because
Absolutely.
I'm right on the cusp of Tivoli here.
Yeah.
And technically where my apartment is Claremont. But I have a Tivoli address.
That's where we are too. We say Tivoli, but we're actually in Claremont.
Oh, you are.
And the mailing
Wait a minute.
address is
I think I hear you. Wait a minute. Outside my window. So you're like across the street, probably.
So what's your address?
I should have been in your film, because I'm one of your neighbors, only I'm too young. I wouldn't have passed my address is right on Route 9.
Oh yeah. Well, we're off 9G.
Okay. So, but you're me. Oh yeah. I saw I saw the road, and I said, that's just across from Lasher. What happened? Yep.
A light fell there.
Oh. Where's your lighting person?
Yeah, exactly.
When you need them. So yeah, I thought I saw that at one point. I recognized the road sign was right across from the Lasher. So you're right over. I know exactly where you were.
Yeah. Oh, this is great.
So we are literally 3 minutes from each other.
That's right.
Pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Have you gone over to the Lasting Joy very much? The most terribly named bar
To the which?
The Lasting Joy Distillery, or brewery.
Oh, yeah. I passed by it and I saw it being constructed, but I haven't been.
It's actually pretty good. It's just that it's a terrible name for a place. But
Yeah.
other than that, I tried it out. I'm not a big beer drinker, but it did taste good.
Yeah.
So they're doing a good job, neighbor. Wow, we are very close neighbors, in fact. The last thing I'm going to tell you about is that, working at WKZE also is, one of our big sponsors, maybe one of the biggest, is the Bardavon.
Yeah.
So you're right. So your main producer is Chris, right?
Yes, Chris Silva, right.
Which is because you have a history with the Bardavon.
Yeah, yeah.
It's amazing how many points of convergence there are here, you know, like, and so felt really, but I actually only just reached out to you because I like your films. That was it. I didn't know that all these other aspects to it, but I thought I should share them all with you. And, and then I was reached out by this organization out of Rhinecliff I mentioned called Radio Free Rhinecliff, which is, I'll be joining their network of shows. And they do it right there out of the Epicurean grocery store near the train station in the back room there. But they have these spectacular shows out of this tiny little closet of a room. And so they've invited me to use that room, you know, and whenever I need to. And I thought, oh, this would be good for you to come and, you know, we'll figure out a time maybe when the next phase of, you know, the film.
Sure.
You should come.
I don't know where the Epicurean is, but
it's right right past the train station, just in the little if they even call it a square. There's like a little area where there's a couple of shops, and that's it.
Oh yeah, yeah. Of course, I know that. My sound mixer, CJ, lives there.
Okay.
He has a studio there, and we mix the film there.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Well, it's a beautiful film. Once again, we're talking about your latest documentary called I Like It Here. It's beautiful. And I watched it last night with Christina, my partner, who lives in Athens. So I actually spend most of my time in Athens these days, but anyway, yeah, we both really enjoyed it, and it was very, very moving and beautifully made with a beautiful touch. You know, you're very, it seems like you brought yourself fully to this project, but of course it's a personal documentary. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah. Thank you. I'm really glad you responded to it in that way.
So just tell me, and of course it deals, as you referred to before, with, you know, your own sense of your mortality and aging, and we'll get to that in a moment. But I wonder, you've been at from what I could find, the Montclair Film Festival.
Yes.
Was that your premiere?
Yeah, the premiere was at Montclair.
Okay. And then you're also at the Palm Springs International Film Festival.
Right. Just came back from there.
That's the one you just got back from yesterday or the day before, right?
Yeah.
And also you were at the Miami Jewish?
Yeah.
Or is that coming up?
They were going to, I was going to go down there, but they lost a number of venues. So oh, shit, again, wait a minute.
It's actually light enough. I don't know if you need it.
Okay, you tell me.
If it's a headache, but yeah, just he's lost, for those listening, Ralph's the light fixture's been knocked over. Yeah,
so the Miami Jewish now they're gonna do it remotely because they lost a lot of venues, which is sort of a symptom of what's happening all across the country, and is of great concern to somebody like me who would really want, you know, people to see the film on a large screen with other people around. I mean, that's what I grew up with, and you know, maybe we're hopelessly fixated and attached to. Let me put this off. So yeah, that's really symptomatic of what's going on all over the country, and it's a great concern to me because I really would want my films to be seen live by human bodies.
And that's where the festivals will be coming in, probably more likely than anything else at these days, sadly. But you're right. And because a film like this really it's meant to, among other things, it's meant to invoke the conversations afterwards, you know, those Q&As,
right,
and be able to have that kind of experience, even if the filmmaker's not there, but people can talk about it, seeing it together, or maybe your neighbor's there, or you go see it with friends or whatever. It's the communal aspects of film going, or it's why as people that are social, or a species that are social, this is just one of many ways we came up with in order to get ourselves connected out there, and to continue hacking away at those opportunities is a tragedy.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, So you were, my guess is, and you can correct me or expand rather on what I'm about to say about your film, but you got to this point where now you're seeing your friends, family members, or people roughly your age, let's say, or neighbors, as is the case, succumbing to aging or just experiencing the pitfalls of aging. And like, my God, how did I get here? To quote the Talking Heads, like, I don't know. I feel like I'm approaching, as I said, 60, and I still just relate to somebody who's like 35 years old. I don't see myself as somebody who's 10 years away from being 70. What is that kind of anything like you're experiencing at 80,
Yeah, well,
80 something?
It reminds me that, I show a brief clip of An Acquired Taste, which I made at my 40th, when I was 40, and at my 40th birthday party. And in the track of that film, I say, I can face 40, but in just 20 years, I'll be 60.
I had a response to that moment. It wasn't a good one.
So yeah, I mean, it never ends. I mean, whatever age you're reaching, it feels
Right.
It was like time is spinning out of control, and we're all on a narrowing path. So yeah, but of course I feel that particularly now.
So the all of a sudden you find yourself, did it feel just like where did the time go? How did this all happen? Like, where all of a sudden I'm this age, and or is there more to it? Is there, is this a celebration as well, or is there?
Yeah, I think so, because certain angst and worries and sort of competitive obsessions just sort of fall away, and you realize that this is it's also a nice time. I mean, and I tried to convey some of that sense in the film, but there are, even though there are huge issues looming everywhere, and friends are dying, and or as I say, it struck me in Paris that they're dropping like overripe fruit. There's also there's sort of a calmness and pleasures that evolve.
It's there's another interesting moment in I Like It Here, where you felt invisible to young women. This experience of all of a sudden they're not noticing you, even though you're still appreciating the beauty of a young woman. And I'm feeling like I kind of understand it, because I've entered that too. And I kind of look at it at my age like a relief almost, because I felt so preoccupied, and, like it's exhausting trying to worry about the attention I am or not getting or wanting. Like, I'm willing to completely, I'm enjoying a phase where that's just a relief to me. I can just focus on this woman who I've fallen in love with, and I hope to spend the rest of my life with, but you really won the lottery in that way, didn't you? I mean, your film, and that the question is, are we going to make it into our old age together? Is the marriage going to survive? All that is kind of, it seems as though, unless I'm mistaken, like not a stress factor at this point. Now because you've made it.
Absolutely not. And I consider myself so fortunate to have found this person.
Yeah.
But then there's as I say in the film, and I think everybody my age worries about it. Who's going to go first? And in the film, I talk to a number of people who have lost spouses, and it's very hard, and you just can't predict how you're going to deal with that, how you're going to respond to it. So that's certainly a concern for me, as well as for the people who I talk to.
Oh, sure. Is it true that you got engaged or married within 2 months of meeting your wife?
Never ask a documentary filmmaker if something is true. But
Did I hear that correctly? I guess is the better way to put it.
It is absolutely true, but there was an intervening year where she went back to France.
Right.
So, but yeah, we only had known each other for that summer in Baton Rouge, and then that was enough to make it happen.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I don't feel insane because I kind of knew within 2 months for sure that this was the woman for me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess because I'm seeing things like I guess you're my avatar, Ralph. You're you're like I can project onto you. I feel like because everything that you're experiencing, I could see like, oh, this is how I think of the world and and what I'm experiencing as I'm aging as well, and I'm barely a generation behind.
Yeah,
But-
well, no, I'm glad to hear that. I mean, even though I'm sorry that you're facing.
Well, no, it's filled with some wonderful things. Don't get me wrong. I'm exaggerating for the sake of entertainment too.
Yeah. No, but
This is a
I am
Q&A.
glad to hear it because, now the film is finished, now you're entering the phase of marketing, and you got to think about audiences. I mean, I think about the audience all the time when I'm making a film,
Yeah,
but I don't think of it in marketing terms. But now I have
That's
to think
Jim's
about
job.
how a film reaches its audience, and more importantly, what is its audience? And of course, its obvious audience is people my age. But like every filmmaker, my hope is that it would appeal to people of any age. But as someone pointed out to me, to say that my film is for everyone is not a marketing plan. So you need to sort of, I guess the target audience would be people my age, but I hope that younger people will respond to it. And
well, here's why it's also, I think, goes to the generation behind, because my dad, it would have been is a few years older, I think, than you are, or what would have been. He passed away. He died at the beginning of the pandemic during the lockdown. And my mother is in a nursing home for many years now with very, very advanced dementia. So, for me, this is really interesting to get the perspective to understand, because it's my parents' generation and it's what I'm experiencing. I am very much experiencing your generation's age, because all my friends are losing their parents. Those of us that are around 60 years old now, we're all, if we're lucky, we still have our parents, So Jim, if you're listening, Jim Brown, and you, I guess, together are coming up with a marketing plan, right, for how to get this film out into the world, into the universe. And I'm hoping that it does. And of course, there is the institutional distribution, which is a natural for, I'm sure for all sorts of places will be interested in, I think, in screening this film. But it would be ideal if all of a sudden whoever's taking over for Karen at Film Forum, for instance, did you see she's stepping down?
Oh no, I didn't see that.
Karen
Cooper.
Thank you for reminding me. Karen Cooper, yeah, she's retiring after all these years.
Yeah. When you talk about losing parents, I think another thing that I think about a lot is not only do I lose my parents, but I worry about losing the memory of them when they were not very, very old, when they were still younger and maybe more vibrant, and the people I grew up with and who nurtured me. And so that's something that I allude to in the film. And of course, then in turn, I worry that, what image of me will my children carry? Will it only be the doddering years when I was totally dependent and could barely make a coherent sentence. That's something that I think about a lot, and that's also an element in the film.
But they'll of course have many images of you, won't they? Because you created so many.
Well, except that you think that, but it'll all turn to dust. Will they look at those images? Will they, they've seen the film. How many times are they gonna? We're not going to schlep it out every New Year's or every birthday, right?
How do you know? Maybe they will. You won't be there.
Well,
You won't know.
I judge from my own behavior. Well, no, I guess I don't have films of my parents, but yeah, I don't know.
Well, they'll want to show it. They'll certainly want their children who are young right now to see it, and their children. This was our, great grandfather Ralph back in that crazy time when there's things called MAGA and I don't know,
yeah,
whatever else.
Yeah, that of course that reminds me. Another thing is that when you're making a film, you sort of have to be careful not to date stamp it. So I wanted in the TV montage stuff, I wanted to put in a quick shot of Trump, but we decided against it finally because it was just
Thank you.
a date stamper. But I did put COVID in, and COVID date stamps it.
It does, but COVID will probably be around forever now, right? Or indefinitely. So,
or at least it was a large enough phenomenon, like the war in Vietnam, that it will be big enough so that it won't make the thing feel dated and like dead meat.
Yeah, right. It was a world level event.
Yeah,
it would have been odd not to reference it in some level. Sure. But there is these, your parents lived into their 90s, and well, at least your dad did, right? No, both of them did.
They both did. Yep.
Amazing.
And they died within 6 months of each other.
Well, yeah. And your neighbor, who one of the neighbors that you interview and who plays a prominent part in the film, he's in his 90s and was last seen skiing.
Yeah, Lou.
Yeah,
in his mid-90s, and we
Lou from Brooklyn.
Together.
You're on the air.
Lou and I walk together just about every morning.
Still.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, he's still walking that dog, Shane.
What a great name for a dog, Shane.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, again, the name of the film is called I Like It Here. It's directed by, produced, written, because there's a lot of voiceover narration.
Yeah, or you could say this film never shuts up.
By Ralph Harlick. And you still have the box of pencils right there in front of you? Still there? There it is. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, it's going to take a while to get through that.
Fewer when I took the shot, though. Maybe I will get to buy another box of pencils.
I think so. It's in your genes. That'll be a day to celebrate.
I actually heard that there's actually very little correlation between the age that your parents died and your own longevity. But
you feel compelled to take every last hope away from me, Ralph. Well, although my mother, it looks like, even though she's in, terrible mentally, in such steep decline, but she is alive and well. I mean, she's physically managed to continue. She's turning 86 in a few months, and there's no sign that she's, she could be around another bunch of years at this rate. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I interrupted.
No, I did read that
there's so many,
that there's very little correlation, but everybody obviously believes that that's going to be a major tape measure of your own longevity as your parents.
Well, only a generation ago, to live in your 90s was a shocking sort of, almost people would say, my God, wow, 90s, that's amazing. Now they're starting to take that for granted, that's when you say somebody died or you read an obit, Doesn't surprise you.
Yeah.
100. But even I think in it within a few more decades, I mean, I sort of see the human beings, just out of for probably many reasons, like not going to probably live a lot longer. But I do see the age of like living into the first decade of your second century as not being unusual soon. Like that will just be a lot of people. And it'll be very interesting to see economically and otherwise how we'll manage that.
Right. Absolutely.
But yeah. But, but this is all kind of related and tangential to what the film is about. And did you feel a sense of catharsis, though? I got to ask you afterwards, or were you seeking a sense of catharsis? By making the film?
I don't think so. And the pressures of finishing something. You diddle around with something for years, and then finally, for whatever reason, often a festival deadline or something, then you race like hell to finish it, and
Right.
Go through post-production with enormous expenses. There's really no time for catharsis.
That's a luxury, in other words.
Yeah, I think so. It's just the thing has its own momentum, and this has become lopsided for me because it used to be when I shot film, I had to raise money all along in order to because film is so expensive to buy and to process, and but now with video you just shoot and shoot and shoot. There are very few expenses, and I do most of it myself. I did have an editor. But then reality hits at the end, where post-production is enormously expensive. Music rights and mix and color and all these
Sound design, color correction, and
all
credits
these final
and music.
expenses. So it becomes incredibly hectic at the end. But now it's finished. Now it feels good.
And
now,
you did,
now the pleasure is finding out what people make of it. I made this thing. I don't really know what it is, and now I'm going to find out. People are going to tell me.
right. Well, you've met, I'm sure, a number of audiences, and at the and I think the New York one is going to. I buried the lead. You're going to be screening. I Like It Here at the New York Jewish Film Festival, which is at Lincoln Center, that's the one on the Upper West Side, right?
Yeah. Walter Reed. Walter Reed.
At the Walter Reed Theater at Lincoln Center on the 15th at 3:00. Tickets are currently available. Go to the Lincoln's, I guess, the Jewish, look up the New York Jewish Film Festival.
Yeah.
And you can purchase tickets
Or
still.
you can go to Lincoln Center filmlink.org.
Oh, FilmLink. And then .org. And then you can meet Ralph and be part of the Q&A that you'll be there.
Yes.
And some knowledgeable film historian will probably be interviewing you, or film
I have no idea.
programmer.
I
Okay.
have no idea who it's going to be.
And support Ralph and independent filmmaking by going to see this film. And we'll keep abreast, and we'll do a part 2 we'll do it in person at Radio Rhinecliff soon. Whatever happens with it.
Great.
We're going to do I want to do this in person because you're local. It makes complete sense for us to go down to Rhinecliff and do another conversation if you're open to it.
It's great. It's great to know that you're here. I somehow I just associate you totally with Brooklyn, and
yeah, no, I know. Well,
Red Hook. Who knew?
Yeah, Tivoli, Red Hook, Claremont. We're in the same neighborhood, and
there's a Red Hook in Brooklyn, right?
There is.
Yeah.
But I needed to. It's we could talk about it, but it was, it was like time. And thank goodness it was the exact right thing to do when I did it. It was a really good decision, So I'm glad to be up here. And we'll have to go for a walk or something.
Yes.
Well, maybe we'll go to a Poet's Walk or something. I don't know. It's very muddy sometimes down there in the winter, though.
It's muddy now, but we can do it in the spring.
Okay, that would be great. I love that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you. Unless I
Thank you,
missed,
Adam.
did I leave anything important out by accident?
No, no, it's fine. Sounds good.
All right, great. Well, thank you. And I know you have a lot going on, so I'm glad you were able to squeeze this in and enjoy the rest of your day and your company that's coming over later.
Great.
All right. And
Thank
I'll
you.
be in touch. And I'll send you, the link and everything to this. So you
Good.
can. All right.
Thanks.
All right. Have a
Bye.
good one. Bye-bye.